Today's video is about something different than usual, actual game mechanics. We've covered a lot of technical capabilities and optimization in the last few months, and Minor Deity is already well on its way to being a large sandbox world with the freedom to simply create what you imagine. It's a satisfying toy, but it doesn't have a more traditional game attached to it yet. I've started designing some mechanics, and in many ways, that's proving to be more difficult than the technical optimization. Designing mechanics that fit into the technical limitations, make sense in the setting, and most importantly are interesting and fun is quite challenging. But I have a start, and I would genuinely love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments, both as game developers and players. We'll consider two main concepts today. One of them is how individual units with different traits convert into production and economy within their settlements. But let's start with how settlements and other infrastructure fits onto the terrain. While Minor Deity does involve building a colony on some terrain, it has to be more than that. You should actually have a say in the layout of the terrain itself. Dynamic terrain introduces considerable complexity. When does changing the terrain create interest and fun? When does it lead to nonsensical outcomes? And how do we both allow the fun and prevent the nonsense? Let's give it a go. Starting out, our Minor Deity has access to only a few small bits of explored terrain, some with fog of war blocking access to them. Potentially, a small settlement containing a few humans already exists. Note that the buildings of the settlement are contained within the colored borders of a region. Everything within one region is managed as one settlement and is seen as the realm of the humans. Inside it, the Minor Deity has reduced powers, but can also increase its powers over time. Outside of regions, the player can explore the land and then alter it to better suit future human expansion into it. For example, you can flatten land along a river so that large farms can later be built there. You accumulate power in each of the 5 classic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and spend this power on exploration and terrain manipulation. For example, here you can see what the cost of exploring will be before you commit. When you are happy with the lay of the land, you can expand a region into it, allowing the settlement to grow. This also costs some ether points. You can start different regions some distance away from each other, for example, to establish a lumber or mining settlement close to specific resources. Eventually, you will connect these regions by road, rivers, and sea routes to allow trade and cooperation to reach larger goals. So, how does production work inside a region? I've decided that production in settlements will be abstracted into rates per day, rather than having a specific unit directly linked to each specific task. Yet, I still want the differences between units to truly matter, but without having to micromanage exactly what each worker should be doing the entire time. It should also be possible to remove individual units and groups of units from a region, for example to go on a special mission or settle a new region. The production capacity of the region should then be properly adjusted. This works as follows. Every unit has one or more vocations it can perform, each with a specific efficiency. When a unit joins a region, the total available work hours and average efficiency of the region for those vocations are adjusted by including the contribution of the new unit. For example, if a region contains one woodcutter with 100% efficiency, we have 8 work hours available, which provides 8 hours of output. If we now add an expert woodcutter with 150% efficiency to a region, we would have 16 work hours available. But the combined average efficiency of 125% means that we can produce 20 effective hours worth of output with those 16 work hours. Alternatively, fewer hours would have to be spent by the region as a whole to produce the same amount of lumber, since the overall efficiency has increased. Alongside the work hours, the region also has a certain capacity for each vocation, which is increased by constructing and upgrading certain kinds of buildings. To perform a specific task, 3 requirements need to be satisfied: resources, work hours, and capacity. Performing a task removes the required work hours and capacity from the available daily pool, and each day the pool is cleared out and restocked. Unused hours could lead to some luxury boost or increased power to the Minor Deity. I've already done some work on the UI to convey some of this to the player. Here's a list of vocations, including an overall available work hours entry. Firstly, the efficiency of each vocation is indicated. It also displays how many work hours are available per vocation and what the region's workspace capacity is, indicating which one is lagging behind by the green and orange bars. Finally, it shows the work hours required to complete all of the currently scheduled tasks, with a green tick indicating that demand is met, and a red cross and red bar indicating a shortfall in one or both of the supply factors. Let me manually add some units, capacities, and tasks to show how the bars and icons react to changes. Adding more and more units eventually leads to a shortage in workspace capacity, limiting how many of those units can actually perform work. If we add more capacity again, our total possible output increases. Of course, I have a lot more plans, but that's what I have ready for today. What seems fun, unclear, or interesting to you? What's your view on terrain transitioning from the spiritual realm to the human realm? What would you change? Please leave some remarks, suggestions, or questions in the comments. You can also find the Steam and Discord links for Minor Deity down below. Thanks for your time and support.